My husband's son confessed something he's hidden for years. Now I'm torn between saving him or telling his father. My husband, Daniel, is 60. I know that's a big age difference, and Reddit is against that, but I met Daniel when I was a grown woman in my 30s. On top of that, my husband looks better than most men my age, so my husband and his son aren't very close. Daniel wants to mend their relationship, but it's difficult because there's a sort of cultural clash between them. Daniel was raised in a culture where affection is shown through sacrifice and discipline, while his son is American. So his son expects more emotional openness and outright affection than Daniel is really capable of. This has definitely led to a lot of resentment, and when I came along, that sadly made things worse. His son was really unhappy about it. His son just takes an issue with me, specifically, and he's been taking that out on his dad. He usually ignores me, and when he doesn't ignore me, he can be nasty. Daniel has asked me to do my best to put up with it and somehow try to have a good relationship with him. I've tried, and I think maybe that finally helped. Daniel is visiting his mom, and I was unable to go. I can't take that much time off work right now. So I've been home alone except for the few days when his son decides to stay here. His son doesn't have his own place. He usually stays with his mom, but sometimes he'll be here. I don't really want to get into the details of what happened, but the other day he was here, and I sort of understood what was going on. But later that night he got drunk and we had a long conversation, and at some point he basically confessed what he's been doing. Let's say he's been gambling, even though that's not it. He told me that he's been gambling for many years, he spent a lot of money on it, he doesn't feel like he can stop. He even sought therapy for it, and that didn't help him. He feels like he can't have a normal life because he has this constant urge to gamble. The morning after that, he came up to me and literally started crying and asked me not to tell his dad anything. But I know Daniel. I know his values. I know he wouldn't want his son to live like this. His son says Daniel wouldn't do anything to help him, but I believe that's because he perceives Daniel to be as cold and uncaring when he really isn't. I don't know what Daniel could do to help, but I know that he would want to know. I thought I'd try to convince his son that he needs to tell him what he's been going through, but his son went back to his mom's place. He isn't here now, and I wonder if he'd avoid me even more now that I know all of this. I feel like just telling Daniel might make his son go no contact and ruin their relationship altogether. And if I don't tell him, his son might like me, which would make Daniel happy. But it feels like I would be betraying my husband if I just sat on this. People's opinions. 1. Do not tell your husband. Urge his son to tell him, and if he won't, encourage him to tell his mom. If all else fails, help him research treatment centers and see if he qualifies. Inpatient is highly recommended as it sounds like he wants to get help, which is a good sign. I find it odd that both parents are allowing a 28-year-old to couch surf but don't know he has a problem. Are you sure Daniel and his ex don't already know? 2. You say his son and you don't have the best relationship. If you tell his father, you risk never being trusted with a secret again, and he'll probably treat you worse than before because he specifically said he does not want his dad to know. You can keep on encouraging his son to tell him, but that's it. Some people would rather pull themselves out of the ashes, and if you love him, you will respect him and keep your mouth shut. 3. Do not tell. The son confiding in you is your first step to building a relationship with him. If you want this relationship to truly grow, then you have to slowly be there for him. He will reveal more over time, and slowly, as your relationship and trust grows, you can convince him to talk to his father. If you tell your husband, you can completely say goodbye to any sort of relationship with his son. 4. His son says Daniel wouldn't do anything to help him, but I believe that's because he perceives Daniel to be as cold and uncaring when he really isn't. I don't know what Daniel could do to help, but I know that he would want to know. 4. His son says Daniel wouldn't do anything to help him, but I believe that's because he perceives Daniel to be as cold and uncaring when he really isn't. It is your perception that he is not cold and uncaring, No offense, but you've only known him for a few years. The son has been around him his whole life. They don't have the best relationship for a reason. He's not with his mother's mother for a reason. Maybe you just haven't seen it yet. Do not tell your husband his son's secret unless you want to blow up their relationship completely. 5. You tell Daniel to get emotionally open. He's presumably competent, so he's well aware that his own upbringing doesn't match his son's. And he's also presumably well aware that it's his own stubborn pig-headedness that has caused the distance between him and his son. So if he wants it fixed, he needs to get over himself and fix it. He's not incapable of that, he's simply unwilling.